You did not arrive at this video by accident. Listen carefully. Today, heaven has urged me to reveal to you the truth about the strange signs appearing in nature. When the sea rises higher each year, and sometimes the ocean pulls back in an eerie silence, as if the earth itself were drawing a breath before speaking to humanity. Many people see these signs. Few dare to ask what they mean. And you, dear mothers and grandmothers, you feel it in your heart. You watch the news, storms stronger than before, coasts trembling under the force of the sea. And when you look at your grandchildren, you ask a question that keeps you awake at night. What kind of world will they grow up in? Your concern is not weakness. It is the instinct of a mother's soul. But listen to me carefully. The signs around us are not only about nature. Sometimes when creation becomes restless, heaven is calling humanity back to what it has forgotten. In the next few minutes, I will explain why the movements of the sea may carry a deeper spiritual warning. And more importantly, I will place into your hands 3 simple steps that can turn your home into a place of protection, a place watched over by the tender care of Our Lady of Guadalupe, through the rosary, through the humble Brown Scapular, through the quiet power of prayer inside your family. These are not complicated actions, but history has shown that when a mother prays with faith, entire nations can change. So do not close this video now, because if you leave at this moment, your family may miss the very grace that heaven is offering to protect homes in the days ahead. In a moment, I will show you exactly what to do. But first, you must remember a story from history, a story where heaven once spoke to a frightened people through the gentle voice of a mother, a story where heaven once spoke to a frightened people through the gentle voice of a mother. It happened in the year 1531. The land we now call Mexico was restless. Cultures had collided. Empires had fallen. Many souls felt abandoned between the ruins of old beliefs and the unfamiliar world that was rising around them. Not far from what is now Mexico City, there stood a quiet hill called Tepeyac. At dawn on a cold December morning, a humble indigenous man named Juan Diego walked along the narrow path of that hill. He was 57 years old, a simple man, a recent convert to the Christian faith. His cloak, a rough tilma woven from cactus fibers, rested on his shoulders as he made his way to attend Mass. The air was crisp, the sky pale with the first light of morning. And then something happened that would change the spiritual history of an entire continent. Juan Diego heard music, not the music of flutes or drums, a sound like birds singing together in perfect harmony, but more beautiful than anything he had ever heard. He climbed the hill slowly, drawn by that mysterious melody, and there, upon the slope of Tepeyac, he saw a radiant woman standing in light. Her presence was gentle yet powerful. Her clothing shone like the sun, and around her was a soft glow that seemed to warm the cold winter air. She spoke to him in his own native language. "My dear son, I am the ever-Virgin Mary, Mother of the true God through whom everything lives." She asked him to go to the bishop and request that a church be built on that very hill, a place where she could show her love and compassion to all her children. But when Juan Diego delivered the message, the bishop hesitated. He needed a sign, so heaven gave one. A few days later, on December 12, 1531, Juan Diego returned once more to the hill. The ground was cold, Frost covered the earth. Winter had stripped the land of flowers, and yet there they were, on the barren slope of Tepeyac, blooming impossibly in the winter air, were Castilian roses, flowers that did not even grow naturally in that region. Juan Diego gathered them carefully into his tilma, petal after petal, fragrant, fresh, alive. When he stood before the bishop and opened his cloak to release the roses, something even greater happened. As the flowers fell to the floor, everyone in the room froze, because on the inside of that simple cactus fiber tilma, a perfect image had appeared, the image of the Virgin of Guadalupe, her head bowed in tenderness, her hands folded in prayer, the stars upon her mantle arranged exactly as they had appeared in the sky that winter night. Witnesses stared in silence. Some fell to their knees. The tilma should have decayed within 20 years, but it did not. Nearly 5 centuries later, that same image remains preserved, and what followed was nothing short of astonishing. Within the decades after the apparition, historians estimate that more than 8 million indigenous people embraced the Catholic faith. Entire communities returned to God, drawn not by force, but by the gentle face of a mother who came to comfort her children. Think about that. One humble messenger, one miraculous sign, and millions of hearts awakened. Heaven had spoken before a great spiritual transformation, and that is why this story matters today. Because throughout history, when humanity approaches moments of trial, heaven rarely remains silent. Before great changes, signs appear. Before storms, warnings are whispered, and the sign given in 1531 at Tepeyac may be far more than a memory from the past. It may be the key that helps us understand the strange movements we now see in nature, the restless seas, the trembling earth, and the quiet call of heaven inviting families to return to protection before the next chapter of history unfolds. Inviting families to return to protection before the next chapter of history unfolds. And this is where the message becomes deeply personal for you, because heaven never shows a sign without also offering a path. When storms gather, when the sea grows restless, when the hearts of mothers begin to tremble for their children, God does not leave his people defenseless. Instead, he places simple but powerful instruments of grace into human hands. Not weapons of iron, not walls of stone, but weapons of the Spirit. 2 of them have accompanied the Church for centuries. 2 humble gifts that heaven has repeatedly used to protect families, calm troubled souls, and push back darkness. The first is the Rosary. The second is the Brown Scapular of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. To many people, these may appear small, a string of beads, 2 small pieces of cloth joined by cord. But heaven often hides immense power inside humble things. Remember the tilma of Juan Diego, a simple cloak that carried the image of a miracle. In the same way, the rosary and the scapular are not merely objects. They are signs of belonging. They are quiet declarations that a home has placed itself under the maternal protection of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Let us begin with the rosary. Each bead represents a prayer, but in the spiritual life, each prayer becomes something greater. Imagine a dark night. Imagine a single candle being lit, then another, then another. Soon, the darkness begins to retreat. The rosary works in a similar way within the unseen world. Every Hail Mary whispered with faith becomes like a small flame, a point of light rising before heaven. And when a mother prays the rosary for her family, those lights begin forming a chain, a circle of grace surrounding the home. Saints throughout history have spoken of this prayer as a spiritual shield, not magic, not superstition, but a rhythm of trust that draws the soul closer to Christ through the heart of his mother. Now let us speak of the Brown Scapular. The scapular is one of the oldest Marian devotions in the Church. It traces back to the Carmelite tradition, where believers place themselves under the spiritual mantle of Mary. Wearing the scapular is not about superstition, it is about consecration. It quietly says, "Mother, I belong to you. Guide my life, protect my family, lead us to your Son." When worn with faith, the scapular becomes a visible reminder that the home has entrusted itself to Mary's maternal care. And through centuries, countless believers have testified that this small sign strengthened their faith, protected their souls, and helped them remain close to God during times of danger. But the real strength of these devotions is not in the object. It is in the heart that uses them with trust. So if you are listening tonight and you are a mother, a grandmother, a guardian of a family's faith, here are 5 simple steps you can begin right inside your home. Step 1. Place an image of Our Lady of Guadalupe somewhere visible in your house, not as decoration, but as a sign that the mother who appeared at Tepeyac is welcome in your home. When you pass by that image, greet her. A simple whisper is enough. "Mother, watch over this house." Step 2. Every evening, take a rosary in your hands. You do not need to pray all 5 decades if time is short. Begin with 1 decade. 10 Hail Marys. Offer them for the protection of your children, your grandchildren, and your home. Consistency matters more than length. Step 3. If possible, receive and wear the brown scapular of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. When you place it over your shoulders, say a simple act of trust. "Mary, Mother of Jesus, I entrust myself and my family to your protection." Let that moment become a covenant of the heart. Step 4. Bring peace inside the home. Forgiveness is one of the strongest spiritual protections a family can possess. If resentment lives inside a house, darkness finds a doorway. But when forgiveness enters, that doorway closes. Step 5. Pray not only for your family, but also for your country and the world, because every praying home becomes like a small lighthouse, and many small lights together can guide entire nations through dark waters. Remember this: heaven does not ask for extraordinary heroes. Often, it calls ordinary mothers, women who quietly kneel beside their beds at night, women who whisper prayers for their children long after everyone else has fallen asleep. And when those mothers pray, something powerful begins to move in the unseen world. Storms may still come, the sea may still rise, but a home anchored in prayer stands on deeper ground. And right now, as you listen, you may feel something awakening inside your heart. Not fear, but strength. The quiet strength of a woman who realizes she is not powerless. The strength of a mother who knows that with a rosary in her hands and the protection of Mary upon her shoulders, her home is no longer alone. And when a mother finishes those simple steps, something begins to awaken inside the house. A quiet strength, a calm courage, because prayer does not only change heaven, it changes the heart of the one who prays. And now I speak directly to you, the women who carry the faith of entire families on your shoulders. Mothers of Mexico, you who pass beneath the shadow of the Basilica of Guadalupe, You who light candles while the noise of the cities grows louder and the future feels uncertain. Your land once received the tenderness of a mother on the hill of Tepeyac, and that same mother still looks upon you today. Mothers of Colombia, you who have seen decades of division, fear, and wounds inside communities, yet still gather your children and whisper prayers when night falls. Heaven sees those prayers. Families of Venezuela, you who have endured economic hardship, long separations, and the pain of children leaving home in search of hope, your tears have not been forgotten. Families of Peru, you who live between the mountains and the sea, watching the world change faster than anyone expected, your faith is still alight. And Spain, the ancient land that once carried the gospel across oceans, where cathedrals still rise toward heaven, even while many hearts have grown distant from prayer. To every Catholic family across Latin America, across villages, towns, and crowded cities, hear this clearly. You are not forgotten. The mother who appeared at Tepeyac did not come for one village. She came for an entire people. And today, her call is rising again. Not a call of fear, but a call of awakening. Because there is something many people do not understand. History does not only move through politics or storms. History also moves through the decisions of souls. Right now, humanity stands in a moment where faith is being tested. Families are scattered. Children grow up without prayer. Homes that once held images of the saints now stand empty of devotion. And that is why this moment matters. Because the clock of mercy is still ticking. Listen carefully. The clock of divine mercy has not closed. Grace is still flowing, but every clock has its hour. When the saints spoke about the urgency of prayer, they were not predicting a physical apocalypse. They were warning about something deeper, the danger of a world that slowly forgets God. And yet, heaven never abandons those who return. A single praying mother can become the turning point of an entire family. A grandmother kneeling with a rosary can become the shield protecting generations she may never meet. This is why your role is sacred, not because you are powerful in the eyes of the world, but because heaven listens when a mother cries out for her children. So tonight, across Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Spain, and every Catholic home across Latin America, something is happening quietly. Mothers are picking up their rosaries again. Homes are placing the image of Guadalupe on their walls again. Families are placing the Brown Scapular over their hearts again, not as a charm, but as a sign of trust in the maternal intercession of Mary, a sacramental that calls believers to prayer and faithfulness to Christ. Catholic Clarity Project, UNO. And when that happens, fear begins to lose its power, because a house that prays is no longer standing alone. It stands beneath the mantle of a mother, and in that moment, something beautiful happens inside the human heart. The fear that once whispered, "What will happen to my children?" is replaced by a deeper cry, "Mother of God, I place my family in your hands." And when that surrender rises from thousands of homes at once, it becomes a wave of faith, a wave strong enough to reach heaven. And when that surrender rises from thousands of homes at once, it becomes a wave of faith strong enough to reach heaven. But now, let the urgency rest for a moment. Take a slow breath, because the truth is this: the final victory does not belong to fear, or to storms, or to the trembling of the world. The final victory belongs to God. It belongs to the quiet power of His love, a love that has carried humanity through wars, disasters, and dark centuries before, and that love has never abandoned those who turn back to Him. So do not be afraid, not tonight, not tomorrow, not even when the world around you seems uncertain, because every prayer whispered with faith is heard, and every home that welcomes the Mother of Jesus becomes a place where grace can enter. Now, if you are able, I invite you to do something very simple. Close your eyes for a moment. Place one hand gently over your heart. Breathe slowly, and imagine that the same mother who stood on the hill of Tepeyac is now looking at your family with tenderness. In the silence of your heart, repeat this prayer with me. Lord God, Father of mercy and light, I place my family in your hands tonight. Protect our home from fear, division, and despair. Guard the hearts of our children and grandchildren. Holy Mary, Mother of Jesus and our Mother, wrap our house beneath your mantle of protection. Guide us when we feel lost. Strengthen us when our faith grows weak. Teach us to trust in your Son in every moment. Let peace live within our walls. Let forgiveness live within our hearts. And if storms rise around the world, keep our family anchored in prayer, hope, and love. Amen. Stay in that quiet for a few seconds, because in that silence, something sacred often happens. Hearts grow calmer, faith becomes stronger, and mothers remember that they are never alone when they pray. If this moment of prayer touched your heart, I would like to ask you to do one simple thing. Write in the comments, Mother Mary, protect my family. And next to it, write the name of your country: Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Spain, or wherever you are listening from tonight. Your words will become part of a chain of prayer, a visible sign that families across the world are turning back to God together. And if you wish to keep this small flame of faith burning, consider subscribing to this channel, not for me, but so that we can continue praying together, sharing messages of hope, and reminding one another that heaven still walks with those who trust. Until we meet again, may the peace of Christ fill your home, and may Our Lady of Guadalupe watch gently over every family listening tonight.